Today we're making blueberry almond cake from Sarah Fennell's Sweet Tooth. So we're first going to be creaming together 200 grams of sugar and 1 stick of butter. Make sure you're scraping down the sides and the very bottom to ensure that everything's being evenly distributed. And then you can continue mixing maybe like one more time. All right, so this has been mixing for about 6 minutes and it's nice and fluffy. So now we can move on to the next step. We're going to be adding in our room temperature eggs, some almond extract, some vanilla extract, and then whatever kind of milk you want. So I'm using pecan milk. And now we're going to let this beat again for a few more minutes. All right, and so for our dry ingredients, we're going to be adding in some flour, some almond flour, a teaspoon of baking powder, and then some salt. And so we're going to be adding in a cup of blueberries, which is 170 grams. So I'm going to be taking my bowl of blueberries, pouring them in, and we're using a spatula for this final step because we don't want to overwork the cake. And if we overwork the cake, that'll lead to it being really, really tough. So to get the cake ready, I'm just taking a piece of parchment paper and I have my cake pan here, and I'm making a circle. So I'm going to lay this here, and then we're going to spray it as well. And so now that the pan is ready to go, we can add our cake batter. It is quite thick, so we just want to be careful with it as we're adding it. And so now we have the cake fully smoothed out, and we're going to finally add in some sliced almonds on the top, and then put it in the oven for a little bit. So here's the cake after it's been baked. You can see it's golden brown on the edges, but also on the top with the almonds. But also just using this cake tester here, I'm inserting it, and you can see that it's been clean. So now I'm just going to let it cool before I top it with some powdered sugar. So we're going to be inverting this onto the plate. So I'm first going to put this on top, and we're going to carefully and slowly flip it over. And some almonds might fall off, but that's totally fine. And so now we're going to flip it over again. And surely there might be a better way to have done that, but it is okay. And we can now put some powdered sugar on top. So to sift it onto the top, I'm going to be using the sifter, and I'm just going to dump it into the sifter. I'll turn it over. I'm excited to see if the blueberries actually sank to the bottom or not. And it looks pretty good. So we've got my version here, and then we have the Roma Bakery's version here. So just to give a closer look, we can see that the blueberries did indeed not sink, which was great. So again, just putting some flour and mixing them in that before you add it to the batter does a ton of the work. So super excited to try this out. It's a blueberry almond cake. There's almond extract, there's almond flour, and I really like the crunchy almond top. So 10 out of 10.